Follow us on Instagram, Facebook and Twitter at Radio 2 Funky, or visit our website radio2funky.co.uk.
And we're back. Some lovely sounds there.
Oh man, wonderful. You know what that is. You know what that is. And we've really got to appreciate it. I don't know who said it first, but it's a quote. Black music, jazz music, our music is a soundtrack of the 20th for the last 100 years of the 20th century, 21st century. You know what I'm saying? It's been a soundtrack. It's been a soundtrack of it. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
It's given Western civilization sanity.
Definitely.
I mean.
Okay, so we have a special guest,
of course,
on the line. I'm honoured, humbled. Oh my gosh.
The purveyor of all that's current. He's a lovely man as well.
Yeah, it's Mr. Tony Minvielle. How you doing? Are you there?
I'm fine, guys. Absolutely awesome.
Or to them that know him, Tony Min.
Tony Min, we love you, man.
That Jeremy Pelt thing, awesome.
The honorary Leicester man. Yeah, it was, wasn't
album,
it?
Yeah,
absolutely,
it's amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've been caning that for a while. It's gorgeous.
Have you? I mean, So speak about the album to me. Like, what are your thoughts on it?
The way that he sampled, I'm getting an echo here. Is something you need to turn down?
I'm
hearing myself.
Hold on.
One, yeah, that's better. Yeah, that LP contains recordings from a lot of musicians who aren't actually on the album. Wow. So what he's done, he's gone and taken like a straw poll. He's gone out and collected stuff over time, and then put this thing together, and then written the music around it. But it's very deep. But it's a bit of a trend at the moment because obviously, you know, Ralph Peterson, the great drummer, I should say, passed away a few weeks ago. Oh. Well, he knew he was going to die in 2016. So he busied himself getting musicians, sorting out work and doing stuff. He knew he was dying of cancer. And sadly, he just passed away. And he did his album's a very similar thing. It's called Raise Up Off Me. It's very prophetic because when he put this thing together, he didn't see the events of last year coming.
Yeah.
And so his album is something you need to go and check out. Really, it's Raise Up Off Me. I mean, get off my damn face, man.
All right, then I'm gonna get the album.
So there seems to be a lot of consciousness going in the jazz world in the US at the moment. A lot of young black musicians that are doing some seriously good business. Which I'm really impressed with.
It's great. The emergence of this new stuff is absolutely fantastic.
I can't hear you, Rob. Just turn your
1 2 1 2. Oops, I'm saying 1 2 on the beginning.
Go on.
Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, it's like. What I'm finding really fascinating is the emergence of this new jazz scene is what's happening in the UK, Tony. You know, you know, America is still, I suppose it's still leading as such, but aren't we creating? I'm hearing a new genre of my music, of jazz music, coming from the UK. Are you hearing anything similar? You know, and when I say like coming from like Sons of Kemet, right? One of my favourite saxophones is going to be one of my favourite saxophonists, tenor saxophonists of all time. If she continues like Nubia Garcia, you know, what she's doing with the music. Is there? Your thoughts on that? You know.
Yeah, plenty. Well, you must remember that I'm going to take my headphones off. You must remember that our experience is not the black American experience. Ours is the black British experience.
Yeah.
So our heritage is tied up with recent African, Caribbean, all kinds of that diaspora. That's the roots of our music mixed in with the American jazz. So it's completely different hybrid. You got kids. Most of them come from like 3 or 4 square miles of South London, where it all took place. But the very same area that I grew up. But so it was the whole world in a very, so much cultural influences.
Yeah.
So that sound has got a little bit of grime, it's got a little bit of Afrobeat, it's got a little bit of this, got a little bit of that. It's got a little soca, so that's why the tunes really sort of drive. Now, if you listen to what Shabaka Hutchins has done, and he's got a new album out, by the way, I've heard some of it, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
He mixes that with some serious messages.
Of course,
serious, intelligent messaging, isn't it? He's a real polymath, right? So the way that he structures his music it takes a lot of thought. And for me, it's beautifully put together. It's a completely different sound, and I'm really pleased it's a completely different sound because we're not mimicking what's come from the US. We're definitely going, down our own path and producing something that's so kind of visceral. It's really it's quite vibrant. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah. And the thing is, what I hope is that we don't go like what's happened in the past with the UK music is that the one thing about Chewbacca and the new sound is that the tunes are good. You know what I mean? The melodies are good. You can actually sing them. It's not so much now about how somebody's playing. It's about it's the whole. You know what I mean? You understand me there?
Yeah, I know completely.
Yeah, and that's what's doing it for me. It's the rhythm, it's the melody, it's everything. Everything's in there, where you don't have to, take the song to bits saying, "Oh, this guy's a good drummer," or "This guy's a great saxophonist." It's the whole, and it's just reminiscent to me of how bebop came from swing. If you know what I'm saying, the transition.
No, I understand that, Rob, and. The thing about the new musicians that we got at the moment is that I was a little bit concerned about the stuff that Steam Down were doing because it just seemed to be very long, rhythmic kind of pieces without any melody. But then again, a lot of that is rooted in a lot of. I'll go back to the word griot. It goes back to the stuff that takes you to a spiritual place. Listen to some Alice Coltrane stuff and the way that the droning stuff and that. But it just keeps going and going and going. But actually, now they're starting to write really good stuff because you must remember that a lot of these youngsters that are putting some, and I'm not patronising them by saying that, is the fact that they're putting together some amazing music, but they're still learning as well.
Of course, and that's what's good.
I've known a lot of them since they were either Guildhall or Trinity and so on and so forth, or even before that when they were much younger with Tomorrow's Warriors with. And under the tutelage of Gary and Janine at Tomorrow's Warriors. And I watched a lot of these, and they're still growing. A lot of these kids that are coming through, they're still growing and still learning their craft. And that's why it's so important with the sort of job that I do and what you guys are doing, is that it's so important that we support them now, we nurture them now, we don't criticize, we kind of give them as much support as possible while they build their foundations. Now, this is happening now. I mean,
of course,
so I've got 3 examples. Moses, right? Now, Moses has built his empire. Nabaya's built her empire. She has American management. She's doing much better in the US than she is here. And then, of course, Chewbacca, with his tentacles that are going to South Africa, that are going to America. He's obviously signed to Impulse, one of the biggest jazz labels in the world, and he's doing some stuff for Blue Note as well. So we're being recognised everywhere at the moment as far as the stuff that we're taking to the world, and the stuff's being reflected back at us. So that itself actually is a mark of the success of how this music is doing at the moment.
Yeah, and to me as well, I can hear, especially with she's a wonderful. I keep going about it, and Marcus as well. There's Nubai, and who's the other one? Lewis Daniel.
Forget Marcus.
It's what they're doing with their limitations, because it seems like they understand it, but it's like, for instance, I've got to keep going back to the bebop and the emergence of bebop out of swing. The swing players did not like what Charlie Parker and Dizzy and them guys were, and Roachy and all them guys were coming out with. It was frowned upon by the mainstream, was it not? Are you with me on?
Oh no,
yeah,
and I can see the parallel.
Yeah, and that's the parallel. I want to draw a parallel with that, because it's like these guys have limitations, but they are creating something that, if it wasn't for those limitations, it wouldn't happen.
That's it, exactly.
If it wasn't for those limitations, what happens? Great melodies, because they need the melodies. You know what I'm saying? And
exactly. But the whole foundation and the whole kind of scene that they've built comes out of necessity.
Of course,
because they weren't being allowed in the clubs.
You articulate it a lot better than I do. Go on.
It was very much a white scene, and they just bypassed it. And then took the world by storm from that.
Right. So, you having said that, that's going to bring me on to another question, bro. Like, do we now create our own mainstream? How do we
it's
create
already
a
been
mainstream?
created, Rob.
All right.
We're really creating our own mainstream.
Yeah, okay. All right. How
That's
does it
serious.
manifest? How do you see it? Where is it? Visualize it for me then. If we've already got it, where is it?
Well, not in. Well, we're under lockdown at the moment, but the job of work we have to do now is to take this thing out of London and to the other cities.
Right.
This is the key, and you can't do that, I think, until you have a truly kind of countrywide or a real assertive effort for the community to produce something to teach these kids music at a young age and create our own little pockets. Like Marcus, for instance, case in point, against all the odds in this small town that we live in, against all the odds, Marcus has manifested himself to be a supreme musician. He's brought out an incredible album.
Yeah.
He's got other stuff in the pipeline. He has the cream of British jazz on his album. That's because they've created a family. And now this family is strong enough to now start navigating outside. It's going to be difficult. And that's where I see the picture at the moment. The tentacles are there. The foundations have been laid. It's just taking it out of London into different cities.
Yeah. Well, how?
Can you turn your?
What's that?
Sorry, outside. Got a bit of interference. Don't worry, I'm back.
Yeah, it's real life jazz here. You know what I'm saying?
We're living a life.
I had to get up and shut the window. You know what I'm saying? You know. There you go, brother.
No, I still can't hear you, Rob.
Oh, you can't hear me? Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Sorted.
Yeah. All right. And well, now where was I? What was I saying? Yeah. But what was the? Just a little thing before we get back into some music. You know, like, have you heard of what they in the turn of the last century? They had an organisation called the Theatre Owner Bookers Association, and they called it TOBA.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
I don't know a great deal about it. That's more Kevin Legendre's territory.
And it became known as, because it was such hard circuit for black musicians and black theatre owners and stuff. The circuit was a very hard, and it was for very little money. But what it did, it got black owners of theatres got together, so they could create a circuit for the jazz musicians, people like Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith, exactly, and all them guys, you know, to go around and do their thing rather than the tent shows. Shouldn't we have something similar? You know, shouldn't we be creating something similar?
Century,
yeah,
and you
exactly.
Take it online, right? So now you've got Jazz Refreshed have basically.
I'm going to bring that up. Yeah. Sorry, go on.
They've set the template now. And now what we need to do is to encourage other people to do it, because it's relatively cheap. You just need a camera and computer and a space. And once we came out of lockdown, musicians to come together and do business, and do that on a weekly basis. They don't have to play to get into clubs. They don't have to go anywhere. They don't have to travel anywhere. You do these communities online. This is the beauty of this power. So you can actually bring people together online, not just in the UK. You can bring them together across the world if your network is set up properly. And these kids have built a really amazing network.
Yeah,
that's great. I've got, I think one thing. Yeah, basically. Yeah. So, what's your thoughts on ownership and, like, in what do you call it, in terms of jazz clubs and things like that? And
right. So
yeah,
and that's
what's
the
your thoughts
point
on that?
I was just trying to make.
Yeah.
You bypass that.
We have to bypass that, do we? It's a shame, really, because that's what we're about.
You don't need to have physical.
Really, we don't need to have our own.
Do you think it's doing all right at the moment, online?
Yes, but
if you grow the marketing properly, although we would like to have live venues doing stuff.
Definitely.
And it's a serious problem, Rob. I'm not going to lie to you, mate. It's something that I'm fighting against all the time. So this is why I throw my whole life into supporting Jazz Refreshed 2,000,000%.
Definitely,
because they're the only ones.
Exactly, they are the only ones right now.
But they've seeded a lot of stuff, right? You know that.
Definitely. I'm a part of that.
Exactly.
I'm proud. So okay. So speaking about then. So right. So
you're talking about promoters and and getting people to do stuff, and this is where we're lacking at the moment.
Of course. Go on. Sorry.
The courses on Trinity and Guildhall do not do music business management very well. in fact, if at all. I've talked to so many musicians who've said to me, "Oh, well, they didn't teach us that. Oh, we didn't teach that. We didn't do that." And I'm literally flabbergasted about promotion, about doing gigs, about the whole mechanics of releasing records and promoting and doing. And so I'm continually giving advice to them on how they need what they need to do and how they need to do it.
That's great.
So these are the things that are lacking, and there aren't enough people who are in this business, that there aren't enough of us to give that information out.
Right.
That's why the stuff that Janine and Gary are absolutely so important in this. With that, then there wouldn't have been Moses, right? Or Nubaya. And then Nubaya literally got picked up in the US. She's now on the same management as Miles Mosley and Tony Austin, and part of Kamasi's crew, right? Crew, and a strange coincidence, Monica Young, Bob Seeley, who's her manager, is strangely when I was based in Atlanta, she was one of the students at the college when I was on the college radio station. It's a really weird way that this has all come full circle, like 25 years.
Right.
But she's doing well.
I hear that.
I hope she doesn't suffer the what black musicians suffer a lot in terms of the new latest best thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
she has to be pushed. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There is no new latest best thing. She is.
No, there isn't.
You know what I'm saying? So we have, if we're going to give her the platform, we have to give her a continual kind of.
So she's on Concord Jazz.
Yeah, and
a serious label.
Get people like you playing her all the time. You know what I mean? She's got to be and. Shabaka as well, man. He's
different.
The guys at the top, man.
He's telling a story.
For me, he's my mainstream. You see, and he really is. That's what I see as the mainstream and current new.
He's highly political.
Yeah, new UK jazz. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. He's the epitome of that.
Yeah, and I somehow trying to avoid to use the term jazz, but we have to.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And that's what people can't get their heads around.
Yeah.
Cool, I hear that.
We get to the definitions of the word now.
Yeah.
It's something that has improvisation.
That's right.
It doesn't matter where the roots of it are.
Yeah. The UK is changing it. We're creating. There's a new genre happening. You know what I'm saying? Or developing.
So I was going to say right. So where now then? So in the scene now, and we're all about the place. Right. So speak about the next stages then. Where from there?
It's right. Okay. So we have another kind of generation of players coming through now.
Right.
If Ogun Joby, there's a few others.
Mr. Hicks.
That are basically. Looking at what you guys are doing, and they're thinking, I can do that. I can build my own platform. I can go and produce records without having to go through a record company, just like you did, because you finished that album of yours, and then you approached Jazz Refreshed, or vice versa. Once it was a done deal, right?
Yeah,
that's the way it's supposed to be, right? Then they applied their distribution and marketing to get that thing out, and that's when our network came in, our network of DJs. So your album's being played on Thursday night on True Brit, on Jazz FM, at 200,000 to 300,000 listeners, mate.
I know.
Okay, so this is how easy this thing can be done if you think about it properly and you market it properly. And then once people see you doing that, then the next stage is to encourage young black musicians or young musicians from a city background.
Definitely, that's my aim.
To come and do the same thing. And this is how this thing grows, because you all support each other.
Yeah.
Like I said at the very start of this, it takes a village.
Yeah.
Of course.
So true.
Yeah.
So true. So speak about your life a little bit and how where you are now. Because we're honoured to have you on. I was like, wow, he's coming on.
We'd like to get, I was like, you know what we should do, because there's so much I want to say and ask about that as well, because he knows that we go back a bit,
we go
a giant step in that,
years,
and I'd like to talk about that, but that's another show. You know what I mean? That's another show. You know what I'm saying, bro? You say, will you come back on? At some point. Yeah, well, let's play some music, and I don't want to know his history just yet.
I want to hear some.
Let's play some music, bro.
Hear some music, and then we'll come right back.